Hello, everybody. All right, so let's review for the Chapter 9 test. I'm on page 397 of the third grade Go book, third grade Go math book. All right, number 1. Alexa and Rose read books that have the same number of pages. Alexa's book is divided into 8 equal chapters. Rose's book is divided into 6 equal chapters. Each girl has read 3 chapters of her book. Write a fraction to describe what part of the book each girl read. All right, so it's important to note that the books have the same number of pages. All right, so that's the first thing that's important. All right, then we have Alexa's book is broken into 8 equal chapters, and Rose's book is broken into 6 equals chapters, each 6 equal chapters, and then each girl has read 3 chapters. So just write a fraction to describe what part of the book each girl read. All right. So Alexa has read 3/8 of her book. Rose has read 3/6 of her book. So we're comparing those two fractions. And I notice that the numerators are the same. So what strategy can I use to compare two fractions? Well, this would be the same numerator strategy. Okay, so if it's the same numerator strategy, I just look at the size of the parts. This book has more pages in each chapter than the one that has 8 sections. So, who's read more? Rose has read more. All right. So this is what I would come up with for the explanation. Rose has read more. Since the books have the same number of pages, both girls have read 3 chapters. The only difference then is the size of the chapters. And a 6th is larger than an 8th. So the 3/6 is larger. Number 2, David, Maria, and Simone are shading same-sized index cards for a science project. David shaded 2/4 of his index card. Maria shaded 2/8 of her index card. And Simone shaded 2/6 of her index card. So we're comparing 2/4 to 2/8 to 2/6. Okay. And again, I notice that the numerators are the same. So that tells me that the fourths are the largest pieces. So this is going to be my largest fraction. This is going to be my smallest fraction because it has the most equal parts in the whole. And this is going to be in between them. All right. So Is 2/4 greater than 2/8? Yes. A fourth is bigger than an eighth. So yes. Is 2/8 greater than 2/6? No. An eighth is smaller than a sixth. 2/6 less than 2/4? Yes. A sixth is smaller than a fourth. 2/8 equal to 2/4? Well, the numerators are the same. The only way they can be equal is if the denominators are the same. So no. All right, number 3. Dan and Miguel are working on the same homework assignment. Dan has finished 1/4 of the assignment. Miguel has finished 3/4 of the assignment. Which statement is correct? So we're comparing 1/4 and 3/4. Dan is 1/4 and Miguel is 3/4. Now, has any of the boys finished all of the homework assignment? No, because they're both breaking it into 4 pieces, right? Dan's only completed 1 out of the 4 pieces. Miguel's finished 3 out of the 4 pieces, but he's still not finished, right? Okay. All right. So Miguel has completed the entire assignment. No, we just discussed that. He has 1/4. He has not completed. So we want to mark the statements that are correct. Okay. So A is not true. B, Dan has not completed the entire assignment. That is correct. Miguel has finished more of the assignment than Dan. Yeah, he's finished 3 of the sections. Dan's only finished 1. So that's also correct. And Dan and Miguel have completed equal parts of the assignment. No, 1/4 is not the same as 3/4. So no. All right. So just B and C. 398. Number 4. Brian cut 2 peaches that were the same size for lunch. He cut one peach into fourths and the other into sixths. Brian ate 3/4 of the first peach. His brother ate 5/6 of the second peach. Who ate more? Explain the strategy you used to solve the problem. All right, so we're comparing Brian eating 3/4 of the first and brother eating 5/6. Well, the numerators are different, the denominators are different, so we can use the missing pieces strategy. Okay, the smaller the part remaining, all right, so in the missing pieces strategy, that when we look for the smaller piece, that tells us which fraction is actually larger, because the smaller the piece that's missing or that is still left over means you've eaten more of whatever that item is. So in this case, who's ate more peach? The brother ate more. 1/6 is smaller than the brother, right? Missing pieces strategy. And this allows you to compare the size of the pieces that are left. 1/6 is smaller than 1/4. And so there's less peach left in the one that was cut into 6. So that one's been eaten more. So number 5, a nature center offers 2 guided walks. The morning walk is 2/3 mile. The evening walk is 3/6 mile. Which walk is shorter? Explain how you can use the model to find the answer. All right, so the morning walk. Two-thirds mile. The evening walk is 3/6 mile. So which walk is shorter? The 3/6 mile, the evening walk. So if you shade 2/3 and 3/6 of the models, right, which we did, we can see that the length of 3/6 is shorter than 2/3. Okay. Number 6, Chun lives 3/8 mile from school. Gail lives 5/8 mile from school. Use the fractions and symbols to show which distance is longer. Which distance is longer? 3/8 compared to 5/8. So same denominators. I'm using the same denominator strategy. Okay. And 3 is less than 5. So 3/8 is less, 3/8 of a mile is less than 5/8. So to show which distance is longer, well, there's a couple ways actually we could write this. So 5/8 is greater than 3/8. You could also say 3/8 is less than 5/8. Okay. So either possibility is right. As far as either one is right is in the sense of putting the symbol correctly. Okay. You'll notice that the point is pointing towards 3/8 in both of them. Okay. So 3/8 is less in both of these models or answers. All right, number 7. Mrs. Reed baked 4 pans of lasagna for a family party. Use the rectangles to represent the pans. All right, fine. Draw lines to show how Mrs. Reed could cut 1 pan of lasagna into thirds, fourths, sixths, and eighths. Okay. So that would be thirds, fourths. Actually, I'm going to skip to sixths. And sixths, we just have to split it. This line should actually be over a little more. It should be there. There. Okay. Fourths. Okay. And eighths. So that's fourths. We need to double the fourths. Well, what happens if we do this? That gives us 6 pieces. And then if we double this again, now we have 8. All right, so we've drawn lines. Okay. I'm going to rewrite this one down below because technically I didn't divide that evenly enough. All right, so that's a little better. At the end of the dinner, equivalent amounts of lasagna in 2 pans were left. Use the models to show the lasagna that might have been left over. Write 2 pairs of equivalent fractions to represent the models. Okay, so let's say 1/3 is left. Well, I know that if I double a third, I'd get sixths. So here's my sixths. How much do I have to shade so it matches this? I'd have to shade 2 pieces, right? So 1/3 is equal to 2/6. What if there was 1/4 left? Well, I know that if I double the number fourths, I would get eighths. So how many sections would I color? I would shade 2 so that they match. So 1/4 is equal to 2/8. So write 2 pairs of equivalent fractions. So 1/3 equals 2/6, and 1/4 equals 2/8. Okay. That's one possibility. There are some other answers. You could say 2/3 is equal to 4/6. Um, you could say 2/4 is equal to 4/8. 3/4 is equal to 6/8, so on. Number 8. Tom rode his horse for 4/6 mile. Liz rode her horse for an equal distance. What is an equivalent fraction that describes how far Liz rode? Okay, so what we're trying to say is that Liz and Tom both rode the same distance. So Tom rode 4/6 of a mile, and Liz rode her horse the same distance, but in thirds. So let's shade Tom's. And so we know his is broken into sixths, and he rode the horse 4 out of 6 of the sections. So how many of the thirds do I need to shade so that it matches the 4/6? Well, it would be 2/3. So what is an equivalent of 2/3? Avery, number 9, Avery prepares 2 equal-sized oranges for the bats at the zoo. One dish has 3/8 of an orange. Another dish has 1/4 of an orange. Which dish has more orange? Show your work. All right, so try to draw 2 circles as equal as possible and split one of them into fourths and the other one into eighths. All right, so shade 3/8 of the one and shade 1/4 of the other. Which dish has more orange? This one has more. Okay, this is almost a half, and this is only a quarter of the whole thing. So the dish with 3/8 has more orange. All right, page 400, number 10. Jenna painted 1/8 of one side of a fence. Mark painted 1/6 of the other side of the fence. Use greater than, equal, or less than symbols to compare the parts they painted. So we are comparing 1/8 to 1/6. Well, the numerators are the same, so I'm going to use the same numerator strategy. The same numerator strategy again says that the more equal pieces there are in the whole, the smaller the pieces. So the eighths are smaller than the sixths. So 1/8 is less than 1/6. Number 11. Bill used a third cup of raisins and 2/3 cup of banana chips to make a snack. Select true or false. 1/3 is greater than 2/3. The denominators are the same, so just compare the numerators. 1 is not greater than 2. That's false. 2/3 is equal to 1/3. The denominators are the same, but the numerators aren't the same. False. 1/3 is less than 2/3. That's true. 1 is less than 2. 2/3 is greater than 1/3. The denominators are the same. 2 is greater than 1. That's true. Jorge, Lynn, and Crosby meet at the playground. Jorge lives 5/6 mile from the playground. Lynn lives 4/6 mile from the playground. Crosby lives 7/8 mile from the playground. Who lives closer to the playground? Jorge or Lynn? Okay. Jorge lives 5/6 mile. Lynn lives 4/6. Well, the denominators are the same. Same denominator strategy. And same denominator strategy says all we have to do is compare the numerators, and 5 is greater than 4. So who lives closer to the playground? He lives 5/6 is a greater distance. It's farther away. So Lynn lives closer because 4/6 is less than 5/6. Which means Lynn is closer. Who lives closer to the playground? Jorge or Crosby? Jorge 5/6, Crosby 7/8. So we want to know who has the shorter distance. This is 7/8 of a mile, and this is 5/6 of a mile. So we're going to have to use the missing pieces strategy. So 1/8 is smaller than 1/6. Okay, so the 1/8 piece that's missing means that Crosby is closer to being a full mile away. Jorge, his distance to get to a mile is bigger. It takes him longer. A sixth is going to be a bigger distance than an eighth. So Jorge is closer to the playground. Wait, let's see. Yes, Jorge lives closer to the playground. Okay. Sorry. Jorge, because 1/8 is smaller than a sixth, so he's actually closer to a full mile away than the 5/6. An eighth of a mile is going to be smaller than a sixth of a mile, which means he's further away. He's closer to being a mile away. So Jorge is closer. 13. Ming needs half a pint of red paint for an art project. He has 6 jars that have the following amounts of red paint in them. He wants to use only 1 jar. Mark all the jars of paints that Ming could use. All right. So he needs a half a pint of red paint. There's 2/3 in one of the jars. Was 2/3 greater than 1/2? It is. The missing piece in 1/3, 1/3 missing piece is smaller than a half. So this 2/3 is closer to being a full jar than it is being than halfway filled. So the 2/3 pint would work. You would only have to use 1 there. 1/4 pint is 1/4 greater than 1/2. Remember, if the fractions of the different jars he has is less than a half, he would have to use a second jar, and he only wants to use 1 jar. So 1/4, we notice that the numerators are the same. Half is larger than a fourth. So he needs more than he has here. So he can't use the 4th pint because he would need another jar. 4/6 pint is 4/6 larger than 1/2. Okay, so this one, if we compare, half of 6 is 3, right? So 3/6 equals 1/2. 3/6 is greater than 4/6 is greater than 3/6. So 4/6 is greater than 1/2. So I can use that jar. 3/4 pint. 3/4 compared to 1/2? Is 3/4 greater than 1/2? The missing pieces strategy. The fourth has a smaller missing piece, so the 3/4 is closer to being a full jar. So it has more than the half. 3/8 compared to 1/2. All right, so half of 8 is 4. So 4/8 equals 1/2. 3/8 is less than 4/8. So this is not true. 3/8 is less than a half. So we can't use that jar. How about 2/6 pint? Is 2/6 greater than 1/2? Well, half of 6 is 3. So 3/6 equals 1/2. Is 2/6 greater than 2/6? No. So 2/6 is actually less than 1/2. So I can't use that one either. So I can use jars A, C, and D because they all have more than half a pint of red paint. All right, number 14. There are 12 people having lunch. Each person wants a third of a sub sandwich. So we have 6 sandwiches here, but we're going to split each sandwich into thirds. Okay, so I need 12 1/3s. 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so there's 12. Each person getting 1/3. I would need 1, 2, 3, 4 sub sandwiches. 15. Mavis mixed 2/4 quart of apple juice with half a quart of cranberry juice. Compare the fractions. Choose the symbol that makes the statement true. All right. 2/4 compared to 1/2. Well, I can't use the missing pieces strategy because this has 2 pieces missing, this has 1 piece missing. I can't use the same denominator strategy because they have different denominators. I can't use the same numerator strategy because they are not the same. But I can compare them both to 1/2. What's half of 4? If I cut 4 in half, that would be 2. So 2/4 equals 1/2. Okay, so equal. Number 16. Pat has 3 pieces of fabric that measure 3/6, 5/6, and 2/6. Write the lengths in order from least to greatest. 3/6, 5/6, 2/6. The denominators are all the same. So compare the numerators. 2 is the smallest, right? So 2/6 is the least. 5/6 is the greatest. And in between is 3/6. Page 402, number 17. Cora measures the heights of 3 plants. Draw a line to match each height on the left to the word on the right that describes its place in the order of heights. Okay, so let's just compare them ourselves on over here without even looking at the answers. 4/6, 4/4, 4/8. So this time the numerators are all the same. So we're going to compare the size of the pieces. So the piece that has the whole that has the most equal parts is 8. So that's the smallest. The fourth has the least amount of equal parts. So that's the largest. And this is in between. Okay, so 4/6 foot is in between. 4/4 is the greatest. 4/8 was the least. All right, number 18. Danielle drew a model to show equivalent fractions. All right, yes. One half. Okay, let's look at the number of groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. So out of 4 equal groups, how many are shaded? 1, 2. Okay, the other possibility is how many total pieces are in the set? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 total pieces, and how many are shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4. 19. Floyd caught a fish that weighed 2/3 of a pound. Kira caught a fish that weighed 7/8 of a pound. Whose fish weighed more? Explain the strategy you used to solve the problem. So we're comparing 2/3 to 7/8. The numerators are not the same, so I can't use same numerator strategy. Denominators are not the same, so can't use same denominator. But there's 1/3 missing from this one, and there's 1/8 missing from this one. So let's use missing pieces. The smaller piece that's missing means it's closer to weighing 1 pound, which means that fraction is going to be more. It's going to be greater. So which piece is smaller, a third or an eighth? An eighth is smaller, right? So that means the 7/8 is actually closer to being a full pound. So whose fish weighed more? Kira's fish. Okay. So if we use the missing pieces strategy, an eighth is smaller than a third. Therefore, 7/8 is closer to a pound than 2/3 is. And number 20, Sam went for a ride on a sailboat. The ride lasted 3/4 hour. What fraction is equivalent to 3/4? So how did they get 3/4? Let's figure that out first. Well, there's more than 4 small rectangles. So this must be 1, 2, 3, 4 equal groups. 3 of the groups are shaded. Okay, so that's how they got that. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 total pieces. And how many are shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 3/4 is equal to 6/8. All right, so that's it for chapter 9. And My recommendation would to make sure that you are able to express how to use the same numerator strategy, the same denominator strategy, the missing pieces strategy, and then also be able to compare fractions to 1/2. So if you practice those things and have a clear understanding, you'll do well on your test. So our next session, we will start measurement, and we'll practice learning how to tell time on an analog clock. All right, so that's it for today.